Hi, I wanted to share with you the most common question that I receive over the web page and via email. And that question is, how do I get a raise? I get this question over and over and over again, and am amused at some of the questions I get. I think that it's easier than we're making it out to be. So I want to walk through the ABCs of getting a raise. And I'm going to start with a little bit of our common characteristics. One is we fall into a job and become loyal to a fault. We stick with it. We work hard day in and day out, believing that if we work hard enough, put effort into it, our employer is going to recognize our hard work and going to give us a pay raise. I'm sorry to say it doesn't always work that way. Now, if it has worked that way for you, that's fabulous, and keep going with it. But in many cases, we have to ask for a raise. And the likelihood has it that they're going to say no the first time that you ask, and the second time that you ask, and maybe even the third and fourth times that you ask. But what you'll be doing is setting a precedent. You'll be advising your employer that you believe your worth is more, and you'll be asking for the pay that you deserve. So the next question I get is, all right, I know I need to ask, but how much should I ask for? And I think that's a very good question, and one that you should spend a considerable amount of time researching. There are websites like salary.com that you can research your worth, look at salary surveys, and start to understand exactly what your salary should be. You can also go to monster.com and look at similar positions that you could potentially apply for and see what those positions are paying. It's very important to spend a considerable amount of time understanding what you're worth. A good way to do this is networking. Find someone in a similar role at a different company and ask them to lunch, ask them to coffee, ask them for drinks, ask them to spend some time with you and share salary type information. You need to find out what your worth is in the market. So of the ABCs of getting a raise, A is you're going to have to ask. B is you have to be aware of your value and your worth. And C is going to be to create the opportunity. Throughout your job, you might have situations where they've asked you to take on additional responsibilities. If that has happened, that's a really good time to sit down and ask for a raise. If they say, no, we're unable to give you a raise at this time, what you want to try to do is secure a date in the future or a point in time in the future that they would consider that raise. If they immediately grant you a raise, it usually means you're even more undercompensated than you thought you were. And if you've been in the same job over 6 years, you're most likely undercompensated. Usually what happens over years is new people hired in begin to be hired in at higher rates because of changes in the market than you're making at your current job. The employer has to manage a budget the same way you manage a budget with your checkbook. You do not go out to the people doing your lawn or the people working for you and say, I'd like to pay you more. Because the more you pay those people, the less money you have in your budget. And that's the way companies think. They're not going to automatically continue to increase your pay if they believe that you'll work for less. You'll keep that in mind when you're making the request. It may make sense for you to find an exit strategy. With an exit strategy, you have additional negotiation power that you don't have without it. Really, you're going to ask for a raise, but what are they going to say? You have nothing, no negotiation power without a possible exit strategy. I hear a lot of you say, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to apply for another job because I'm not looking for another job. Sometimes you have to try on something new look at other positions just to get the pay that you deserve. So consider an exit strategy. A, you're going to ask. B, you're going to be aware. And C, you're going to create the opportunity. You're going to find the right time, either after a change in position, after you've taken on additional responsibility, or any other opportunity at your annual raise or annual review. You're going to ask for that raise. And what are you going to do if they say no? If they say no, you're going to exercise your exit strategy. You're going to look at other opportunities for you. What are you working for? You're working for the pay, right? What if you're 30% under what your market potential is? Then that's that many more years. That's at least 3 additional years that you're giving up in salary prior to retirement. You cannot afford to just settle. Your employer will pay you what you're worth, but you have to ask.